Hey there, what's good YouTube? Target here and welcome to another episode of Design and Manage, my City Skylines and Modded Let's Play series. On the last episode we have expanded the population of our city and we've also focused on developing the park on the left side of the city. And today I think we are going to cut some split ends and address some details that our city is in need of. Let me just explain you what I have in mind. Alright guys, if you have been following me for quite a while now, you will notice that I've built some things that I left incomplete. One of them, for example, is this area right next to the airport, where I've said I was going to zone some luxury commercial and also some offices. So yeah, I have a lot of things that I haven't addressed in my city. One of them is this one for sure. Another one, for example, is this coastal area. This is much more recent, but it still applies. This coastal area that I want to zone some things in it and also turn this ruin monument into a park, into a custom park. So I don't know, I think I'm going to dedicate this episode to address some of those things. I don't know how much work I will be able to do in just one episode, but we can at least start with this area right next to the airport. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna turn this into a decent layout and I will meet you guys in a couple of seconds to start zoning some things in here. Alright guys, I am done with this. I think this is an acceptable layout. So I've pretty much done a grid layout to cover this entire area and I've also done some terraforming. Finally, I've also added some pedestrian pathways to prevent zoning on specific areas, on some specific roads. So yeah, I think that's that. Now we can start planning out our park situation. I'm gonna start with parks because there are a few areas that I want to cover. For example, this area over here, you cannot zone anything in there, so I think this is going to be a very suitable location for a park. So let's put, I don't know, this is going to be mainly commercial, so maybe a plaza. How about that? Let's zone, let's occupy this empty space with a plaza. There we go, perfect. And I think I will also need something to cover up this area and also this area as well. So I think I can put another plaza right about over here. And I think this is going to be pretty nice coverage. There we go. And finally over here as well. And how about a small park? And yeah, I think this is going to be very acceptable. So let's place it there. And now let's take advantage of these pathways that came out with a path to connect to our pathway. Like this, okay. This is actually very messed up, the terrain, so let's try and fix that. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, pretty cool. And now let's just start zoning some stuff in here. So I know that this is going to be commercial. Maybe I can put a few high density commercial. All of this. Oh, but not low density. What am I doing? Excuse me. I meant high density. I think I'm gonna put a couple of offices in this road. And I'm also going to zone offices in this area. Okay, and finally moving on to this area, I cannot zone high density because this is the area where the planes are going to land. So planes over here go at a very low height. So instead of high density commercial, I am going to put some low density commercial. Did you see that plane coming over here? I could probably get away with high density, but just for the sake of aesthetics and realism, I'm gonna put low density. So all of this is going to be low density commercial. Alright, now let's provide power and water to the entire thing. You know guys, instead of installing a power line to bring power to this set of buildings, I was thinking maybe I can put something in this road, perhaps a unique building. And I was looking at the buildings that I got from the high-tech buildings pack that Ben gave me, and I saw this Robotics Institute, which I think is going to fit very well over here at the 90-degree angle turn, not the way it is set up right now. So I think that's something I can try out. So let's see how this thing is gonna look. Maybe I can put a road all the way over here, and maybe now I should adjust the terrain a little bit. Okay, kind of like this. Now let's put on the Robotics Institute and see how well this thing will fit right here. Alright guys, I like it. Look at that. Is that enough to transfer power? Yes it is, perfect. And yeah, let's just adjust the terrain a little bit. Okay, I think this is very acceptable. It's kinda nice how you're driving on these roads and you can kinda see the silhouette of the building. I think it looks very nice indeed. And why are these roads completely messed up? Why does the road type change all of a sudden? That's not something I want to deal with, so I didn't even notice this, so let's fix this. All of this is going to be a highway off-ramp up until this junction, and the same for this thing as well. Okay, much better. Now that this entire area is developing, maybe I can start decorating it with some trees, and we will completely wrap up this area for good. This time I'm not gonna leave decoration to the end, and I'm gonna do it right now. Okay, look at that. What do you guys think? Not wanting to brag, but I think this area has turned out to be very good looking. Let's just wrap this up with a bus line that goes all the way up until this monorail station. So let's make another stop over here and another over there. Let's make a stop by the park, the Meteor Park. Another one by the monorail station, then another one at the metro, and finally we can come back down all the way over here and wrap this up. Perfect. I think this area is now complete. Alright guys, moving on to this area over here. Another thing that I want to do in this episode is turn these ruins over here into a park. I could simply delete them and place a bunch of buildings over there, but that's not fun at all. I think it's gonna be much more fun to reuse the existing things that we have over here and turn them into a custom-made park. And I think the nature reserve park area specialty that came with Parklife is going to be very suitable for this location. So my plan is to start off by drawing the path layout for the park, place a couple of nature reserve buildings, and in the long term, after I finish the park, I am going to reuse the existing area all around the park and place some buildings and some residential and also commercial. So that's the plan. Let's see what we can do with this little thing. I am going to think of a pathway layout for the park, and I'll meet you guys after this short time lapse. Okay guys, check this out. This is going to be the foundation of our nature reserve park. I have made some pathways that go right inside the ruins. If we zoom in quite a bit, we can see that the pathway goes through the pathways. I try, not through the pathways, through the walls. I've tried not to destroy the walls, but I had unfortunately to destroy all of them to have a total access to the entire ruin system. You can see that you can kind of go into a maze through these locations and visit these areas. This is kind of a dead end, and you can come through here and go to the graveyard and so on and so forth. And this way you can visit the entire ruin system. This kind of reminds me of the Roman ruins that we have spread across Europe that are similar to this. So this is kind of nostalgic to me. Then you also have this outside pathway that I am going to fill with shops and also some camping sites, some nature reserve specific buildings for that, just to increase the leisure value of this thing and attract more people to the park. And finally, I also have this extension that leads to this little bit of ruins that have been spread across over here. And I'm also going to turn this into an entrance and another entrance over here. That's why I've made these cutting pathways. And the main entrance of the park is going to be right about over here. I've even prepared the road layout so that it provides an easy access for cars to park over here and to get into the parkway. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna start with the main gate. We gotta start somewhere, and the main gate is the way to go. So I am gonna place it right about, I would like to center this thing, but unfortunately that's not possible. Let me try to adjust the road a little bit so I can do that. Okay, perfect. Now I can center it 4 blocks to the right and 4 blocks to the left, so it is perfectly centered. Let's just place it right off the bat. There we go. And I've also unlocked quite a couple of things that I'm gonna place throughout the park. Let me just connect this thing over here. There we go. The park now has access. Let's just go on and place all the other entrances. I am going to put a sideway gate over here. And let's just connect it back. And finally, another small gate right about over here. So let's select it, let's place it, and now let's make a pathway that will eventually connect this entire thing. Before I do anything to this park, I'll need to provide it with some water and power first. So let's take care of that. Okay, I've just provided it with some water, but it doesn't seem that they don't require power. At least they're not complaining about it, even though it's not connected. So anyway, let's just start building some stuff in here. I'm really excited for this. So let's see, what do we have? We have some campfire sites, which are extremely small buildings that I could probably place all around the park area. And I've also have these small variations of tents. So I don't know, I think this is the only thing that we can place right off the bat, so let's start with that. Let's make it so people can camp inside the ruins. I think that would be a very unique camping site area, an attraction center. At least I've never seen something like that in my days, but well, I'm not that outgoing, so I couldn't really tell. But anyway, we have a camping site, so let's put it right about over here, the first one that we can put. And yeah, this kind of looks like a barbecue area. That's kind of fun. Let's decorate it with some tents all around the area. Let's put one over here, another one over there, another one over here, and a couple of these ones over here as well. Okay, I don't really like how rectangular these things are aligned, so let's try to make it a bit more appealing. Ah, look at that, guys. Much better and much more attractive. And look how well this thing looks from the sky, from an aerial view. This circle kind of fits very well with the rest of the layout, and I really like it. And it looks like a circuit board. So let's try to repeat this pattern throughout other corners of this park area. Okay, I have provided 3 more camping sites throughout the ruins. So we have this one over here, this one, and also this one. And our park right now has a total entertainment of more than 800 out of the 250 that is necessary to level up. And I still only have 0 visitors, so nobody has still visited this. I think when I zone some residential over here, and also when I put a lot more public transport options that bring citizens to this location of the city, I think this will be fixed very, very rapidly. But for now, I think we are okay with this park area. Look at this. I really like how this thing turned out to be. I think it looks very friendly indeed and very inviting. I would totally pay to spend the night over here, out in the cold, in the freezing winter, with minus 12 degrees Celsius. Yeah, of course. Of course I would pay for that. Who wouldn't? Okay, so we have built a park, but I don't want to end this episode without having any visitors in my park. So what I think I'm gonna do now is I am going to make a road layout right about over here in the southern part of this park, and I'm gonna start zoning some residential on it. I think I can zone the entire neighborhood, and we can also place a few houses right in this episode. I'm also going to add a few transportation options, such as, for example, a ferry stop that will connect to the main ferry network, and that will allow our citizens over here to get access to the entire city. So yeah, let's start with that. Okay guys, the road layout is completely finished. I am quite satisfied with it. I even like the slope that I've made for the ferry stop. I think it will work very smoothly. Anyway, I think it's time for us to start zoning some things in it. And I think the first thing that we should do is provide this area with a power connection. So far this area has been living off these incinerator plants that provide a bit of power, but I think we should expand the power line connection from the main city to this area as well. And I already have a power line segment over here, so I think we can continue it all the way over here and also all the way across the river. There we go. And now this thing will eventually connect to our district. Now another thing that I want to do in this district is turn it into a very specific type of building. First and foremost, let's draw it. Let's paint the district. Okay, and I will give it a different name at another stage, but for now let's just draw out the policies that I want. I want to turn this into a self-sufficient buildings district and also organic and local produce. And this will allow citizens to live self-sufficiently. Commercial, for example, will not require the need to import as many goods, which is quite suitable because this area has very low accesses. It only has one highway connection, so it's not recommended to get very high volumes of traffic coming into this area. But anyway, the district is now drawn and set up, so now we can start zoning some things. I know that I will want some commercial right along the main road. Maybe also a few commercial buildings right about over here. Alright, I think this is going to be enough for commercial, and I actually didn't check something very important, which is the pollution level. The pollution doesn't reach this area, so I think we are going to be more than okay. And now let's provide some residents. I want the areas right next to the commercial to be high density. So let's draw some high density residential right along this line. Perfect. And now I want everything else to be low density residential. So let's zone it. And okay, I think this is it. While we let this area develop, we can address some things. First and foremost, I want to enable this ferry stop. So let's continue our ferry network that we have going on throughout the river. So it's currently finishing over here. Is this the last straw? Yeah, I think it is. So let's continue this. Okay, so the basic line is now drawn. I've also rebuilt the highway and the power line. Now let's add another stop to that ferry stop, shall we? So I think it makes sense to drag this stop. So let's take it and drag it all the way over here. And now let's take, so this one. Oh, and I also need to replenish the stop, so let's put it over here. So the way this line is currently working, the ferry is coming to the stop, then to the stop on the other corner, and finally it comes over here. But maybe we can make this more effective. Let's delete this stop and let's make it so that the ferry, when it lands over here, before it goes to the other station on the other corner of the map, it comes here first. Okay, so I think this is a much more productive line. And now let's make the opposite to the other line. Let's make the line go to this stop first, then come to that one, and when it's going back, it will stop here. Okay, let's see if this is working out correctly. Yeah, I think it is. I think this is exactly what we wanted. I think I can even delete this segment. I thought it would be necessary, but apparently it isn't. So let's just delete this entire thing and make a much more attractive slope. There you go. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now we just have to wait that power gets to this thing. But in the meanwhile, we need to provide a bus line that allows people from this region to access the ferry stop. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to go to my bus lines and I'm gonna make a line that stops over here, and then it covers the entire district. So let's make a few stops all around this thing, this neighborhood, and maybe let's make another one over here. Now let's wrap it all the way in here. Perfect. Now let's make a line that goes in the opposite direction. And there we go. I think that's more than enough. Now I need to head a way for people to cross the road, people who come to this bus stop. And the best way to do that is to upgrade a few road types to create some crosswalks, just like this. Okay. Now let's just upgrade all of this. And I think I can upgrade all of this as well. In fact, there's a lot of roads that I want to upgrade, and given the fact that this is a self-sustaining district, I think I'm going to upgrade all of these to roads with trees. You know what? Let's also add a stop to our park. So one stop over here and also another one over here next to the commercial, and let's do the same for the other line. Let's also add another policy to this district. I want to add the schools out policy so that people over here can be encouraged to work in this park and not go to school. because who cares about university, right? And yeah, there's also some services that I need to address in this location. I will definitely need a cemetery somewhere around here. So let's make a cemetery right next to the entrance of the district. And we should probably put a medical clinic, a small one. So let's put one over here. I will need a fire station, absolutely. A police station. And maybe some parks to add some flavor to this area. I know that I already have this big park, but maybe I can even add a lot more parks. So maybe a small park with trees. Well, this is actually quite big, so I think I'm going to put a large playground here in this little square. And I also think I'm going to put a park with trees over here. But for that I need to relocate this police station. And now I can put it. Okay. You know what? Let's put this park over here instead, because we have a lot of area that is not occupied. So let's put it here, right in the middle. And of course, we also need to take advantage of these little pathways created by the parks. So let's grab our dirt pathway or our gravel pathway and let's connect the pathway all the way over here. Maybe I can disable the road length guide and also the grid and place it there. Okay, and do the same with this thing. Alright, cool. Okay, this area is developing very nicely indeed. I really like the way it's turning out to be, with the high density buildings wrapping around the small neighborhoods. I think this is going to create a very nice effect. Traffic in this area is flowing very nicely, even though because I've zoned a lot of buildings all of a sudden, I have a lot of moving trucks going to our residential. All of a sudden this is occupying this entire road, which is creating kind of a jam. Well, it's not a jam because the traffic is flowing, but it's flowing very, very slowly. But this is only temporary, as we've seen on the last episode. But anyway, I think this area is probably going to need a more efficient connection. I might make a bridge connecting these two areas, maybe a low density bridge. And I also think I can put a passenger train station over here and also a cargo station for these factories. So that's something that can turn this area a bit more productive. We'll see about it in the future. Oh, and by the way, how long has it been since we had a massive death wave throughout our city? Yeah, I've missed all these dead people. Look at that. And it also seems that we're starting to have a few visitors to our park. So I think we'll just have to wait a little bit until this area develops a bit further and this park will be much more populated. And the ferries are working very, very nicely indeed. Look at the amount of people using our boats. It's even way too much people, I think. So yeah, I think that train station is definitely going to be a plus. And I don't really like how the boats give that weird turn to get into this thing, so that's another thing that I might fix in the future. But anyway guys, before I wrap up this episode, there's also another thing that I want to do. It is something that I should have done a long time ago, but I forgot. So we're at our public transport hub. So as you can see, it is very busy as usual. So we have a lot of people hopping from one metro station to the other and also to the trams. But there's one thing that I haven't built over here, which is the regional bus lines. And now that we have most of our city developed, I think this is a good time to add those specific bus lines. So I am going to make very direct bus lines that connect people from this station to every single corner of the city. That's how this thing is going to work. Okay, so now let's start with the first line. Let's create it and let's make it go all the way until the commercial hub on our initial island. So let's make it go probably around over here, right at the middle. So that's it. Now let's just head back. And there we go, that's a very short line. And let's give it a very distinct color, shall we? Let's turn it... Is this line? Yes, it is. Let's color it, I don't know, maybe a reddish tone. Now let's make another line, and this one will connect to the airport. Where is the airport? Okay, and let's make it connect over here, right at the entrance. And yes, I know people can already go to the airport by metro, but it's good to add different ways of people to get into the same location. So that's that. Now let's add another stop that will take people to our new district, and let's make it go right next to the park. In fact, I can even go over here. Perfect. Now let's head back. Let's make our fourth line go until... Perhaps I'm gonna make this line go to the northern area of our district. Let's make the first stop right in the northern part of the district. Now let's make another stop here in this district. And another one here. And yes, I am overlapping with the existing bus lines. And another one here. And finally another one there. And now we can start heading back. Now let's make another line, the fifth line, that will connect to the middle part of the town. So one stop here and another one right next to the metro. This is a really old part of town. I don't even remember this. That's funny. But let's keep going all the way over here. And finally, let's bring it all the way here and all the way to the second university. How about that? Let's make a stop here. Okay, now let's just start heading back. And now let's make a final line for the time being that will bring people to the lower part of town. So somewhere along the coastline avenue. I think that will work very well. And let's make it go through the coastline. Let's make... Well, actually, let's make the path as direct as possible, so no coastline. Let's make it right next to the... what is this thing? The elevated car thingy or something. Let's make a stop there. Let's make a stop right next to the metro station. Another one right next to the opera house. And finally, let's bring it all the way to the ice hockey machine or the ice hockey stadium. Okay guys, so the lines are all set up and I've also colored them to that magenta tone. And I think I already have some people using the stations and also the bus lines, so there we go. Yeah, we have a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but a few people queued in to get into the buses, which is quite nice. We need to wait a bit more. So yeah, let's check on the coverage. I think we have a very nice coverage throughout the entire city. We have a line going to this part of town and also 3 lines that cover this entire city. And also a line for the airport and finally a line to our new residential suburb. So I think it's gonna work out very nicely. Okay guys, what I'm doing right now is decreasing the number of passengers in these new bus lines because each and every single one of them is set to 20 buses or more, which is quite an exaggeration because even though these lines are very long, I am going to have very few passengers in each of them, so I need to decrease the number of vehicles. And I think 3 per line is going to be more than enough in this stage, and I can set the budget higher if I have to. But anyway guys, that's gonna be it for today. We have done a lot of progress on this episode. We have built 2 different things on just one video, which is quite amazing, or at least that's what I think. And on the next episode we are probably going to continue the development of this new park area, and we're also going to try and bring new tourists into this location. But anyway, that's going to be it for today. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already to get notified every time I post a new City Skylines video. Thank you so much for watching guys, and as always, have fun!